All right, y'all, I'm going to tell you a really embarrassing story this time. When I was 18, I got my first sales job at the local Nissan dealership, and I sucked at it. So at one point, there was this guy who came in, old, gruff-looking dude, drove up in a busted Nissan Frontier, came up. I was the first one that he talked to. I invited him inside, told me that he wanted to look at a new Frontier. What I did, instead of taking him to look at new Frontiers or asking him questions about his existing one, was I took him over to my desk. It's like my third week. I broke out the little checklist of questions to ask that my bosses had given me, and I started going through line by line by line, asking him these stupid questions and writing down his answers dutifully. Midway through probably the fifth question, the guy just stood up, walked away, walked out the door. I had no idea what was going on. I was just dumbfounded. It hadn't even entered my mind that a person might do that. So I went after him and I said, "What's going on, man? You're talking to me like I committed a crime." Then I really didn't get it. Man, it was so embarrassing. That wasn't even what caused it. But I came inches from getting fired at that job, and I ended up quitting before it could happen again. And despite the challenges, I did learn a lot. Like, the problem was I saw myself as a salesman, and I saw them as my customer. My brain thought that I was supposed to behave as a salesman, and so I behaved according to the salesman's stereotype that I had picked up automatically through my life. Like, I wasn't trying to be a Wolf of Wall Street type of guy. I was just trying to be helpful. Like, I'd tell them, like, if I had the car they wanted, nobody would get them a better deal. And very often, I did get them a good deal when given the chance. But that didn't happen very often. Customers hated me, just like that guy. I worked there for 3 months. I only sold one car by myself the entire time, and the rest of them were I turned to other salespeople who actually closed it. So I was good at starting conversations, just not at closing. And my bosses kept telling me that I was jumping the gun, and all I needed to do was go make a friend. Just go make a friend, John. But I really couldn't understand what they meant. And then finally, 5 years later, I figured it out. Like, my problem was that I wanted something from all my customers. Like, and I felt that the only way for me to get what I wanted was to earn it. And that's a decent mindset, but I thought that earning it meant getting them a good deal. And that really isn't what my customers wanted. Like, I needed to learn that I didn't get paid for getting my customers a good deal. I got paid for solving their problem. Like, here's what I mean. So there was a guy that came in and he wanted to buy a Nissan Maxima. I don't remember any of the details. We demoed the car. He liked it. I remember him sitting at the desk with me and my other sales guy just hovering over him like weirdos. And he was looking at the data. The guy owned an insurance agency. He was probably a multi-millionaire just several times over. He was looking at the data and it just didn't line up. Like, he had been frugal and made the right buying decisions for years and years, built a really successful business. And I thought that he was going to walk away. And honestly, it was my boss that screwed up. My boss was transitioning him out the door. Oh, he's not going to buy. Or maybe he was, in his wisdom, calling the guy on his bluff. But either way, it worked. The guy was like, wait, no, I think I deserve this car. And he bought the car. Like, and the sad thing is, his motivation for buying it didn't dawn on me until 5 years later. Like, he wasn't looking for a good deal. He wasn't buying that car because he really liked the Nissan Maxima. He was buying that car because he was sick of the way that he felt driving his old beat-up Corolla. Like, he'd been making the right decisions for years and years, and now he felt like he was ready for a status symbol. And I think it's really funny that the multi-millionaire's status symbol is a friggin' $40,000 Nissan Maxima, not a Lamborghini or a Porsche or something, but hey, that's why he's the millionaire. I was forcing my perspective on my customers when I really should have been trying to understand their perspective. Like, the best way for me to find my customers' buying motivation problems would have been to just ask. But I was an amateur and I didn't. I immediately positioned myself as a salesman, and by doing so, I completely shut them down. I made it impossible for them to feel safe and reduced the probability of them, like, sharing their problems and their concerns, their buying motivations with me to damn near zero. Their shields went right up. And my boss's solution to this problem, again, was just go make a friend. But I didn't feel comfortable trying to be friends with my customers. I wanted them to buy from me. Like, I felt like it was a conflict of interest. And then as I got older, I realized that I could be friendly with people without really trying to become friends with them. And after I accepted that fact and a couple other difficult things, like significant rewiring in my brain, I was able to get past my mental barriers, and I became not only a better salesman, but also a better person. So here's what I had to learn. First, starting with a relaxed, pointless conversation is socially acceptable, even if you're in a sales role. Just because you're a professional with a service to offer, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to just BS with people and just chat with them with no end goal in mind. Just talk to people. It felt wrong for me to do that. I was being fake, but it only felt fake because I was being fake about it. You don't have to be fake about it. It's true that some of your customers might assume that you're a sales guy and that you're up to something, but it's not your problem. Those are their suspicions. It's their problem. You are allowed to just talk to people, and you don't have to try to sell them, and you don't need a reason or special permission to just talk to people. You can and should talk to people without an objective for the conversation. Second thing I had to learn is that in order to solve a problem, you have to know what the problem actually is. And when you're talking casually to people like that, they'll tell you what the problem is. Even if their guard isn't totally down, they're still going to share the information that's going to help you and help them, just because their brain tells them that it's the socially correct thing to do. You have to help people feel safe in talking about their lives, hopes, dreams, goals, needs, their problems especially. A problem that you can solve is your opportunity to be of service, and that is what you get paid for. You can't assume that you know what the problem is. The customer needs to tell you directly or indirectly. Third thing, and this sucked, I didn't like learning this, but you can't help everybody. Again, you're not required to sell to people. Even if your bosses tell you to, it's your brain, your decisions, you don't have to. Sometimes when I'd have a perfect conversation with someone, it would seem like my ideal prospect, and they would just have all their problems in order, or at least the problems that I was able to solve. And when that happens now, I tell them how I feel. Hey, I don't think that I can solve this. If I know someone who can, I'll pass along their information, but otherwise I'll just shake hands and part friends. Not everybody is going to be a good fit for your product or your service. They're just not. And pro tip, don't discard people. As soon as you find out you can't get anything out of them, even if they're not a good fit, you should at least go out of your way to give them a reason to smile and make sure they go home happy, or at least point them in the right direction. Fourth thing I had to learn was you win does not equal they lose. So tons of salespeople that I talked to, myself included, felt guilty for selling somehow. The sale they just made is a net loss for their customer and a net gain for them. A huge reason why I sucked at selling cars is because I think cars are a bad investment. I remember one time there was a family of 4 that wanted to spend $45,000 on a brand new Ram pickup, and the whole family made $60,000. I think that was one of the stupidest ways they could have spent their money. They would have been better off with a Honda Civic, I think. And I would have felt guilty for making that sale, but my coworker came in. He believed that by putting him in a brand new Ram pickup, he was putting him in a reliable vehicle, a safe vehicle that was going to keep him warm and on the road through the horrible winters we get here in Montana. He felt great about that. He thought it was a good move for them. So he made the sale, got paid, and parted friends with the whole family. Everyone was happy. He did that. I could not have. Do both of our perspectives have merit? Absolutely, but it's just I wasn't a good fit for that product. Now I sell landing pages. Not 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone with a painter in Washington who told me that he sat in his truck for an hour a couple of months ago, just with tears in his eyes, just about to cry because his business was about to go bankrupt. So many bad things had happened all at once. He had gotten out of the hole that he was in by the time that we spoke. But when he shared that with me, I shamelessly exploited that vulnerability to sell my product. And I didn't feel the least bit bad about it because I knew that my product was going to put him and his business in a stronger position, and it would help him avoid ever having to feel that crippling despair ever again. I knew that my product was the right thing for him, and so I sold it. Your customer is buying from you because you have something that they want, be it a product or a service, whatever. If they didn't want it, they wouldn't be trying to buy it. You are not getting paid to do something wrong. So any conflict of interest that you feel, any guilt, that exists purely in your head, provided that you're not a liar. So sell something you believe in, and every sale you make is going to be a win-win. Fifth thing that I had to learn, and this was probably the hardest, the most counterintuitive to my nature, you're not their friend, and that's okay. Being in a sales role sometimes feels unnatural. Conversations feel stilted and uncomfortable and weird, especially if you're trying to approach it from a fake position of friendship. It feels unnatural because you're not friends. Like, you're not trying to be friends with your prospects, or at least you shouldn't be. Like, you have your own friends and they have their own friends too. Like, they are here for a purpose and your job is to help them fulfill that purpose. Like, you can be kind and fun and friendly with them. Like, if you can fulfill that purpose from a position of genuine interest in the person you're serving, they're going to love you for it nonetheless, even if you don't go out for beers the next day. Like, care about your customers, but don't pretend to be something you're not, because that is just inauthentic and it's deceptive, and people will pick up on it. To truly get to that position of genuine interest, you need to accept those facts. A pointless conversation is socially acceptable. You can't sell a solution to a problem that you don't know about. You can't help everybody. You're going to get paid, and that's okay, especially if you sell a product that you believe in and you're not their friend, and that's okay too. Like, if you can accept those facts, you'll be able to detach yourself from the end goal. Your conversation skills will get better. Your conversations will get easier and more fun. Your sales skills will improve, and you'll just feel a lot better when you're working. By not pretending to be their friend, your customers won't notice the subconscious signals that you're deceiving them, because you won't be deceiving them. And you're going to feel comfortable getting to know people and finding out what their problems are and helping them solve their problems, even knowing that you might never see them again. And that you might even forget their name by the end of the week. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're authentic and genuine about what you want and how you help. And by letting go of that sense of obligation to, like, be a salesman or fulfill a certain role, you get to detach yourself from the outcome of your sales processes, and it really does let you become genuinely interested in the people that you work with. And when that happens, everybody wins. That's all I got for you this time. I appreciate you listening. This has been a fun adventure for me. Over the next week, there's going to be some pretty significant changes happening. I am going to be starting a blue-collar business come Monday. I'm going to be starting it with $500 cash and an internet connection, and seeing how fast I can turn a one-man side hustle into a $5,000 a month operation with just 3 days a week, because the other 4 days I'm going to be slaving away from my clients here at Bridger Digital. So if you want to follow that adventure, subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming. You're also welcome to follow me on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people every single day. A lot of the fun stuff that I'm going to be posting will be showing up there. Hope to see you around. Thanks.